I'm at Hidcote in Gloucestershire, one of the finest gardens in the world. Horticultural standards here are really high and there's much to be learnt from the team. Today, head gardener Lottie Allen is going to show us how they prune their hydrangeas. Hi Lottie.
Hello.
You've got loads of different hydrangeas here at Hidcote, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, a fair few. Quite a few of the macrophylla types, so the lace caps and the mop heads, and then things like the arborescence and things like aspera as well.
Aspera, the really big shrubby ones.
Yes, yeah, which are stunning and actually don't need as much really in the way of routine maintenance to some of the others, but they catch the light really lovely even when they finish flowering.
Yeah, all the dead heads are looking really architectural, aren't they? Do you leave them on as long as possible?
Yeah, generally speaking, they look good at this time of year. It's probably the only thing that, you know, it's sort of any sort of flower really. And we sometimes cut some of them and use them in the house as well.
So when's the right time to prune them then?
We go for about this time of year, so sort of late winter into spring. You can just see the buds starting to really start to push their way up. So that's a good time for us.
Okay, so this is a macrophylla type.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you can see, we've got a few around here. This one is slightly congested, so I think what we'll do is as a routine prune, but we'll also take some of the older stuff out. Okay,
so show me the routine pruning that everyone has to do on their mop heads and their lace caps.
Yeah, okay, so it's very simple. The buds are at this stage in the game are swelling, so it's really sort of a nice job. But really what you're looking for is from the tip, you're going down and you're looking for the first set of healthy, strong buds and just cutting there. So it's a very, very light tip approach just to encourage that new growth. Sometimes it's more obvious than others and you need to sort of trace it back a bit further and obviously just taking out those smaller bits that aren't going to make good flower.
Okay, great. So all the flowers are off now, and for many people with a young plant, that's pretty much all you need to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what else are you going to do?
So having taken off the majority of the flower heads, what I would look to do is a sort of an overall prune, just so that it neatens it up. It's sort of much better to prune this sort of thing with secateurs than a hedge cutter, but you do want to get sort of an overall form of the shrub, and you also want to think about things like the path. So there it's already sort of pushing out into the path. It will do with growth, so actually pushing it back in now gives it that sort of opportunity to be a bit softer, and that's fine to be on the path, but not so it's taking up half the path.
Okay, so that's sort of rounding off. That's just a bit more trimming back to say the next pair of buds down. Yep. If needed. All right, and then are you also going to remove some of the bigger stems as well? Yeah,
so as I said, it's quite congested in here, and it'll take time to sort of open that up again, but we can choose some of the older stems to start that process. They say not to take more than a third, but I wouldn't even be looking at that at this stage. Just slowly starting to take the older growth out. There's some particularly good ones here where it's quite weak growth anyway, so if we can take that out, and we take that out right to the stem just down there to let it reshoot from the base.
So it's just the older stems that you're going to be looking to take out?
It'll be the older stems, but it'll also be looking for any of the stems that might have died, some that might have disease, or that they've been damaged, they've crossed over, they've broken for whatever reason. None of that will make good growth, if any growth at all, so it's worth taking that out at the same time.
Okay, yeah, and so this is just because this is actually quite a mature plant that's got a bit congested and needs that airflow and to stimulate growth from the base.
Definitely, and there's some leaves that have fallen down there as well, so clearing all that out will just help with the sort of general health of the plant.
Okay, so this is an arborescence type, and you prune this a bit differently, yeah?
Yes, so the books say to go down to 25 centimetres or thereabouts for a sort of core structure and let that come. We tend to prune them slightly higher than that so that there's longer, older growth, which gives a structure and gets us flower at a slightly higher point. It tends to mean that the flowers are slightly larger and there's less of them, but that works for us. We've got herbaceous plants all around that are just that bit taller, so we want people to be able to see those flowers.
Okay, so you're cutting back to a sort of woody framework that sits above the herbaceous plants.
Yeah.
Okay, show me what that looks like.
Okay, so we're going back, you can just about see the framework here, and what we're looking for is the young growth, so last year's growth, so those slimmer bits, they look slightly darker now, and going right down to so that it's the first bud from the old stem, just there.
Okay, yeah, I see. So rather than just tipping back to the
so
top buds.
it's the first buds from the old rather than from the top.
And you usually do this sort of late winter, is that right?
Yes, really, particularly up here in the sort of cold Cotswolds, you wouldn't want to do it a lot sooner, but we've got a lovely day for it, so we can get on with it.
National Trust gardens can be great sources of inspiration, and our gardeners and volunteers are looking forward to welcoming you when you next visit. Until then, why not get the National Trust School of Gardening from our shop?